Good evening, colleagues, and welcome to the Project Management Guru series. Today, I'm continuing with the stage in the project management life cycle, the planning stage, and I will be talking about the detailed project planning today, how to plan the project into detail. But just a recap of my last planning session with you, the strategic project planning session. As I indicated, there are two levels of planning in projects. There is the strategic project planning, which comes up with a project strategy. And then the next level of planning is the detailed project planning. Okay. So always remember these two levels, the strategic project planning and the detailed project planning. So today I will be talking about the detailed project planning. That's the second level of project planning. With the detailed project planning, first of all, planning is the only stage in the project management life cycle that follows a set order. That is, the things that you have to do under planning must follow a certain order. Otherwise, your planning will be haphazard, because one thing leads to another in the project planning process. So you must follow a certain order. Okay. And today I'll discuss with you the order of doing detailed project planning. Okay. Now you must have a plan for each PMBOK area of the project. For instance, you must have a plan for managing time. You must have a plan for managing cost of the project. You must have a time for managing stakeholders in the project. All the 10 PMBOK areas that we know of, you must develop a plan, a detailed plan for this PMBOK area. And then all these 10 the plans for all these 10 PMBOK areas will now be integrated to form an overall project plan. Okay. So you must have a plan for scope management. How are you going to handle scope on this project? You must have a plan for it, plan for cost, plan for quality, plan for time, plan for resources, plan for risk, plan for procurement. How are you going to handle procurement? You must have a plan for it. Stakeholders, you must develop a plan for stakeholders, and so on and so forth. So that's how the planning goes. You develop a plan for each PMBOK area, then you integrate all of them together to form the project overall project plan. So let's look at what happens during the planning process. It all starts with a scope baseline. You need to develop a scope baseline for the project. And then the next thing you have to work on is the time baseline or the schedule baseline. Then the third one that follows is the cost baseline. Then once you have these three baselines, you develop a project baseline change management plan. Definitely all these three baselines that I've mentioned, they might go through changes. So what you have to do is that you have to develop a plan as to what will happen if there should be any change in these baselines. Then the next planning is the project risk management plan. That's how you're going to handle. You have to come up with a plan as to how you're going to handle risk on this project, and even detail the risk that you envisage on this project. Then after that, you move to the next stage of planning. You move to, then you develop a preliminary project management plan. It's a preliminary one. Okay, so with all the baselines and how you're going to handle the changes in the baseline. And then you come up with a preliminary project management plan. Then you continue planning. You plan for project integration management, you plan for quality, you plan for resources, you plan for communication, you plan for procurement, and then you also plan for the stakeholders. And you feed this into the preliminary project management plan, and then you have the final project management plan. So this is how the detailed planning process goes. Okay, so just be conscious of this, that you must follow this order. You cannot circumvent the order. You can't do that. You have to follow this order in your project plan, and there's a reason. You need to be clear about scope first. That's the very first thing. Establish your baseline for scope. It is after that that you can talk of a time baseline, schedule baseline. And then once you have your schedule baseline, you can talk of a cost baseline. Once your baselines are ready, now you must have a plan for how things are going to go. If any of these baselines are to change, how is it going to be handled? And then the next thing is the risk management plan. Then you develop a preliminary project management plan. And then you plan for other PMBOK areas. And then you have a final project management plan. Okay. So the project management plan is actually the deliverable, the final deliverable that comes out of this planning process, the project management plan. Okay. And it's very important that you have a plan. The plan provides the roadmap for the project. So if you're running a project, one of the things I would like to see is your project plan. It's a very comprehensive document that tells us how we are going to run this project. It provides a roadmap, as I indicated, guides the project manager and project team. It also indicates the actions or steps that we are going to take towards the achievement of the objectives of this project. It's also the basis for commitments to clients. Once the project management plan or the project plan is approved, then you have the client's commitment to the project. So once you prepare the project management plan, you must send it to the client for approval. And sometimes you go through revision upon revision upon revision due to changes that happen. But at the end of the day, it must be approved. The project management plan also tells us the roles and responsibility of the team members and other stakeholders. And it's also a very important document for monitoring and control of the project. Okay. And anytime somebody comes into the project, one of the first documents they ask for is the project management plan. Okay. So make sure you always have, it's quite an elaborate process. It takes time to prepare, but it's a very good document that will guide you in the execution of the project. It more or less serves as the Bible of the project. Okay. So there are various types of project plans, so it depends on the kind of sector or the kind of project that you are handling. But at the end of the day, I think the process is the same to develop one. Okay. So the content of a project plan is quite elaborate. You must have, it contains all the plans for all the 10 PMBOK areas, the project management body of knowledge areas. So if you open the project plan or the project management plan, you'll find a project scope management plan, you'll find a project time management plan, you'll find cost plan, quality plan, human resource or resource plan, communication plan, risk management plan, procurement plan, and stakeholder management plan. All these are embedded in the project management plan or the project plan. So once the project plan is completed, next thing is seek approval. Make sure the project management plan has been approved by the client and signed off as the document we are going to run with on this project. And the next thing after the project management plan or the next thing after the project plan is the project kickoff meeting. This is where you have to go and outdoor the project plan to stakeholders. And at this stage, this is not a stage where people are going to criticize the project management plan. No, this is not a place for debate of the project plan. Or it's not time to reach consensus on anything in the plan. because we believe during the planning you consulted all the stakeholders and you solicited quite a lot of information before developing this plan. So project kickoff meeting is just an information meeting. You are just informing stakeholders that this is the plan, give them the highlights of the plan, and then the meeting is closed. Okay, so it's just an outdooring meeting, just outdooring the project plan to the various key stakeholders, and then the project can start. So this marks the end of detailed project planning. Please be careful with your detailed project planning. It's quite an elaborate exercise, but it's worth it. You know, it gives you a roadmap or a guideline for your project. Thank you very much for listening. Once again, don't forget to visit my Facebook page, #GCCJBCC, or subscribe to my YouTube channel, JB Nati, and listen to quite a lot of lectures on projects and how to handle it. Thank you very much.